Hi, it's Michael Redden again, and today I want to talk to you about a topic that, well, if you don't adhere to this, if you don't take care of it, it'll cause your estate plan to fail, even if you have one. And if you have any questions, put a comment down below, or if you'd like to meet with me or ask me in person, then you can click on the link in the description or go to reddenlawoffice.com and schedule a meeting. I want to talk about funding your estate plan today. You know, I can make a trust, I can make a will, but if I don't take certain steps, nothing will go through them. We talked about this before, and the fact that, you know, a will, a lot of times it needs to be probated, and it's going to go to court with. You're going to go to court with it. The judge is going to make sure that things go to your heirs in the way you want. But you know, if you don't set anything to go through your will, then that will just sits there and does nothing. And we're talking about this basically with beneficiary designations and things like that. Our clothes on our back, sometimes our house and our car and things, we're probably going to end up owning those when we die. You can put beneficiaries on them, and you probably should if you want to avoid probate. But if you're relying on a will, you probably didn't put a beneficiary on there. So those at least are going to go through it. But our bank accounts, our life insurance policies, our retirement accounts, all those kinds of things, if we didn't change the beneficiary to be, you know, if I pass the estate of Michael, then it's never going to go through that will to begin with. And if our will created things like trusts or held things back or provided special provisions for kids or grandkids, none of that stuff's ever going to happen because we didn't put it through the will that way. This is most commonly something that goes down when you have a trust. Now, beyond all the complexities of how things can go, you know, trusts are great vehicles. They have the features. We've talked about some of them, what they can do, and we'll continue to talk about them. But essentially, when you think about what it's actually going to do for you, we tell you a lot of times the classic, think about it as a bucket. And I'm going to put my stuff in this bucket. I'm going to hand it off to my trustee. They're going to hold the bucket and every now and then take something out of it and give it to a beneficiary, right? We can conceptualize that. But if we don't put anything in the bucket, then it does no good. And lots of times if we forgot to put our house or our car or something like that into the bucket, you know, we have a backup, we have a will there that's just going to say, hey, judge, put it in the bucket. But we can't do that with anything that has a beneficiary designation on there. If I didn't go and put the pay on death of my accounts to be Michael's living trust or Michael's trust, then it's never going to go in there. If I left that to be my spouse, or I put that as kids or someone else, or the worst one I've ever seen that came up with, it was a guy who got married, but he got his life insurance policy probably 10, 12, 15 years before that, and he never updated the beneficiaries. Guess who the beneficiary was? His ex-girlfriend from about 12 years ago. And all of that money, instead of going to his wife and kids, went to the girlfriend. And, you know, she was happy to get it, and she didn't feel any kind of connection with his current spouse and kids, so they ended up not getting the money. It's a sad story, but none of that went into the trust. None of that went into anything that he wanted to have. And that's why it's so important to make sure that your estate plans will function and will not fail just because you didn't put anything inside them. And that's something that planning with your advisors and your attorney and things like that can make up for. You should review those things kind of yearly. And anytime you buy a new policy, anytime you buy a new piece of property, make sure it's going to go through your estate plan properly. You're going to do proper planning for the taxes and for the insurance and everything else to make sure that's taken care of while you're living. Make sure it also passes the way when you pass away. So get an estate plan. Make sure you cover that step so it functions the way you want. Again, if you have any comments or questions, put them in the comments bar below. If you need to plan and you want to talk to me about it, you can go schedule an appointment with me by clicking the link in the description or going to reddenlawoffice.com and clicking schedule a session. Thank you.